This is Jed McKay, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Thank you, loony listeners. I've stuffed up the intro now because I don't usually say what I usually. Welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 359, and you are back with your high priests of KHONSHU, Rebecca and Rey. Rebecca, welcome,
Hi.
welcome.
Hoi.
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 you just reminded me. Sorry, short anecdote. We're on the bus today, and there was a little kid counting.
Mhm.
Counting 1 to 10,
Uh-huh.
and it said 1, 2. Oh, sorry, he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the biggest Aussie 9 Aussie drawl, but he was very cute nonetheless. Welcome back, everyone. Rebecca, it's fun to have you back as well.
Yes, it's nice to be back.
We are cruising now in 2025. This is old hat. Well, I'm ready for 2026, Rebecca.
Yeah, don't say that.
No. There's plenty ahead in 2025. Exciting stuff galore. We are back for... Oh, gosh, it's not a moonshine. I've actually called it something else. Bear with me. Oh, I have done that all... Sorry, for those that are listening to the podcast, I'm
Pro
just upset.
podcaster Rey.
Yes,
He's
the banner.
Oh, a banner!
We're doing the other side of the moon. I had it as a moonshine, but Rebecca, it is kind of an old issue, and it's not your regular issue. Oldish, but it's not your regular issue. So
no.
I just wanted to. I didn't want to call it a moonshine. I want to call it something else. Other side of the moon, which I think were Moon Knight appearances in other comics. So that were his runs.
I think it counts.
Yeah. And we're doing the moon. Sorry?
I think it counts. So I was saying to Rey just beforehand was like, it doesn't really feel like an annual. Right? It feels more like part of a mini series. So.
Oh, we'll get into that. I'm gonna rip into that as well. But yes, the Moon Knight Annual 2024. It was part of, I guess it was the Infinity Watch. It was called as well.
Yeah,
Rebecca,
I don't even know if it's finished. I think it's still going. I don't know. May not. May have finished now.
Well, it made for slightly, I guess, different reading in the fact, Rebecca, that it was part of a bigger whole, and I wasn't totally across it, and the backup stories were kind of part of it as well, which is good. Yeah. Which is good. Well, look, might as well launch into it now. Look, Rebecca, before we press the big red button, I was telling you about, putting my old man hat on about how annuals are different now than they were back in the day. And as you're saying, the more like mini series is right. Like I remember the annuals the annuals are like, they weren't events, but they were like nice big chunks that you'd get, right? There were 64-page, bumper issues that were always like an anthology. They had backup stories that were either connected to the main story of the annual or were connected to like the overall series of the titular character. We get that to an extent now, but it just doesn't feel the same, Rebecca. It feels like a lot shorter and not as, I don't want to say the word epic because annuals were never epic, but
they were more about the character.
Yeah.
They're more like, I don't know. So like the last one and this one have both been part of other stories, which is fine, but like they're more like tie-ins to other stories than annuals, and calling them annuals is fine, but it doesn't really feel like the same thing, which is like giving other writers a chance to play with the character, giving the character a chance to do something out of continuity. This is more like how can we sell a bit more of the Infinity Watch by dragging in a bunch of other characters by making it their annuals, But that said, I still didn't not enjoy it.
Oh
So.
no, I didn't I didn't not enjoy it as well. I thought it was fun, like once you kind of lock into what is happening. But I tend to like compare it with, and again, this is just because of my own timeline, right? I tend to compare it with Atlantis Attacks, say, which was a sweeping crossover on all the annuals. It was it was very ambitious for Marvel to do like every single annual from every title, I think, available, had some sort of crossover. But each of the stories were very much could be viewed as standalone. It was just kind of like tied in. Whereas
I
I
mean,
feel,
in some ways this was standalone-y, but like
yeah,
the backup wasn't, and the
it just
backup.
seemed really.
I don't know. There's something that seems a little bit cynical and by me about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's that, but for me,
Sorry,
there was
I'm just destroying bits of my room.
excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
sorry.
Maybe it's the
I'll try
mind
not to
gem.
swear on mic again.
That's okay. That's fine.
The blind comes falling down towards my face.
Well, I think you get a pass for that, if that happens.
That was a little. What just happened? I just went like,
Yeah.
oh, it's now on the floor. That's fine.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like smaller scale to, and I know that sounds weird. We're talking about Infinity Gems,
but like, I'm kind of sick of
really
these
small
gems.
scale.
Like they've been messing around with them being in people for so long, and it's just been dotted over like the odd story every few years. I don't really care. Like, the Infinity Stones have kind of lost. I don't care if she's got the Mind Stone. I don't care who's got the Time Stone. I just kind of wish they'd move on and.
Yeah, I mean, like, I haven't. To be fair, I haven't really
always
been.
Good to see Nightmare though. It's always good to see Colleen for me. I love Colleen.
Oh, Colleen as well, yeah. But I haven't been really delving into it. I know that the Infinity. I'm talking again back in the 90s, the Infinity Watch, and I think there were Jerry Duggan did an Infinity thing, and we did the whole. What was it? The Moon Knight, the Spider, Arachnite. We did that. So that was fun. I mean, but I haven't seen.
Were fun.
Yeah,
no, they've been telling this story about the stones jumping into people for a while.
Oh, okay.
This must be like the third mini with it.
Oh, okay.
Like because the end of the others, it was picking the ones, and it's just I don't know. It's fine, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yeah. I totally see. Yeah, what you mean. Well, I mean, let's jump in. Let me just pull it up now. Yeah, the Infinity Watch. It's I mean, it's interesting, especially a lot with Moon Knight. It's pretty cool to have him connected to the Infinity Watch. We all know that in the original, the OG Infinity Gauntlet, Moon Knight didn't have much of a play there. I think, Rebecca, from memory, he was just standing on a rooftop. He had one panel.
I mean, I don't know how involved he is in it now. It's more that like it's just happens to have got involved in this one.
Yeah, he did. And it was interesting to see how his alters were kind of perceived and used in this. But also we have here, so we've got the front cover. For those of you watching the video, you'll be privy to all the visuals. We've got the front cover here, the annual. It's got Colleen leaping towards Moon Knight. I mean, they never really do fight, but it makes for a dynamic cover, right? So
yeah, they don't fight at all.
No, Moon Knight, I've got to say, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Every time I see him, his new costume just rocks, doesn't it? He just looks so cool with that extra detail. Yeah. I think with those extra lining up his, like the black part of his arms and on his kind of gauntlets, it just looks, really new looking Moon Knight. Anyway, of course, there's the obligatory moon, in the background.
Massive
it's Moon Knight. And interestingly enough, we'll touch upon it, I guess, Rebecca, there's the Deathstone Saga, Chapter 7. So that kind of didn't frighten me, but it kind of scared me a little, going, okay, I'm jumping.
I like how it looks like Colleen's sword is making the swoosh in Moon Knight.
Very cool. It is making the very familiar now Moon Knight font. So what happens here? I mean, we've got writer Dan Waters, artist Marco Renna, and again Rachelle Rosenberg on colors and VC's Cory Petit on letters. There are cover artists Salvador LaRocca and Edgar Delgado, and we have variants though from Ivan Shavrin, Mike McCone, and Dean White. That's the Infinity Watch variant cover. And different editor here, Lauren Amaro. So even now, Rebecca, like, again, here's my little vent fest. There's no little contents page of showing you, the stories, which I'm kind of used to in annuals.
Yeah.
They probably haven't done that in years, but like at least show us that, there are there only 2 stories in this? Probably are.
Yeah, there are.
Oh,
and at
gosh.
least you get the little, you would just get a summary of who Mark is and then
Yeah.
a little bit of a story about the Infinity Stones.
Which is good because
I mean, you need to know it, but like,
yeah, I poured over that because I needed information. So that was really good,
Yeah.
and I love the whole blurb that Marvel has, done for decades now. It's really useful. Oh, and Rebecca, I've just noticed on top the Infinity Gems have got faces on each of them.
Yeah, so you can see who they've gone into.
Is that Vivian with the Soul Gem, or is that? Oh,
I don't know who's gone into that. Let me look it up. Infinity Watch. Who
because
has which stone?
Is it Star? Star looks like she's got
One of them Star. Yeah.
Yeah. Star's got what's the red one? Reality Gem. We've got Colleen with the Mind Gem. Almost looks like Peter Quill. I don't know if that's the Time Gem. We don't have the reveal for the space.
Star has
reality.
Star has reality. Quantum has space. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
apparently not released, not revealed. Colleen has Mind Stone. Yes. Multitude has the Soul Stone.
Who? Multitude.
He was in Avengers Annual by Jed McKay.
Oh, sorry,
and
Jed.
Travel Foreman, so you know that, of course.
Okay.
I think he might have been the one of them was just a normal person. He's just these may all be just normal people who just became it. Time Stone is Overtime, aka Hector Bautista. Another solo operator. So those two have not got any former affiliations. They might just be normal people.
Okay.
Apex, aka Prince Otherone, is the Power Stone. He was a ally to the Guardians. And Phil Coulson has the Deathstone. So
has a what stone?
The Deathstone. That's why he's in the Death.
Oh, that's the death. Oh, that's the thing. I didn't know there was a Deathstone. There was never a Deathstone. Who knew? Before.
No, it's for this. It's like it's.
Oh, okay.
So, it's really good.
No, I'm all for a new stone, but where was it the other times? Anyway, okay. So Rebecca, we've got 2 stories here. Let me just read. Yeah, Agent Coulson with the Deathstone saga. Let's focus on the main event. What happened here? Basically, Rebecca, as you mentioned, Nightmare is in the mix. Colleen is reaching out with the Mind Stone to get someone to help her. Is that correct?
Yes,
and that's why we get the bar. Yeah,
and she's in a coma, and she's in a coma. These other hospital, and she's kind of it's manifesting with these little.
Yeah, she can't control it. Yeah,
heads and
she has
Mind Stone acting out.
Yeah. But she kind of learns almost to wield it towards the end, right? She learns to kind of like just push or just kind of, I don't know, reflex, and it does what she wants it to do. Overall, what did you think of this? I
quite liked it. I thought there was a little bit of the Constantine about it. Yeah. Like it would have fit as a Constantine story as well. The birds are very Ghibli. I because they got they do that in
it's weird.
Spirited Away. They have the old woman's face on a bird.
Oh God, it was a little bit freaky for me. I thought.
I thought it was a good story. I thought it held together quite well. I think always going to Mark because of like his mind and the altars and not his powers and the moon knightiness is it's not becoming a bit of a thing, but it's almost becoming a bit of a lazy thing. It's like
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's skirting very close to saying DID is a magic power. It's not saying that. But it feels like the more we rely on that as let's go to Mark every time something's messing with people's minds because his mind works differently. is I can see me not wanting to read it again soon. Like, this was okay, but I can see it because I like Nightmare getting a bit like not really sure what to do with Jake and things like that, and then Stephen coming up and like happily garrotting him, which seems a bit non-Stephen as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't sit 100% well with me, but I didn't hate it. But I can see a time, like, if this keeps happening, I can see a time where I just roll my eyes at it and just go, come on. Not everyone else in Marvel is neurotypical. You know, like you could go to someone else and you know, like surely there'd be, but you know, I like having Moon Knight and things, and I actually think he was what he said to Colleen, and the whole Traveler at Night and her being a dreamer, I liked a lot. So yeah.
Look, I agree with you for for the most part, for all of that part. I think you're right on the money with that. And added to that, what I find with those kind of stories is that Moon Knight starts to become almost like really peripheral. And this is his annual, right? And I understand like the story is with Colleen, but again, with this annual and it being a Moon Knight annual, I really think that it should be focused on Moon Knight, and you integrate that story, with him. Look, I love seeing Colleen, as I say, as well, but it's just that I find that's the case, especially with the theme, as you were saying, Rebecca, about how Moon Knight's kind of called. Contamination is another mini series that happened a while ago that I can recall that Moon Knight was kind of called upon.
Yeah, they did that with and
so
and they've said it a few times and it comes up and it's kind of do it in his comic maybe, but like it just it seems that, like, I don't know, I think people who don't read Moon Knight, if that's always their go-to move, is like, ooh, let's focus on the DID, not focus on the DID, but let's see why that makes him different than other people. I don't know. There's something about it that I just feel like I hope we don't get it every time he appears in this.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I think it was done really well in. I can't remember. Was it 2022 or 2023? The Moon Knight annual with Werewolf by Night. I think that was done really well.
Yeah, I also like the annual where they were doing that fighting thing and Mark just pieced out. That was good as well. But Jed wrote that one as well. I think it's slightly different when it's the normal writer writing the character, because even if it's not in continuity, they're not necessarily. It's not necessarily they're jumping into a character.
Yeah.
And trying to find a hook quickly. So
true. Yeah. I mean, I guess back to to my point though as well. I just wish that Moon Knight wasn't. He seemed to be very much in the support role here, and he did have a time to shine towards the end, obviously with Jake and Stephen. But I just would have loved to seen a more fully fledged Moon Knight story with the secondary theme of it being part of Infinity Watch or whatever. I mean that can be a thing. Not to say I didn't enjoy it. I love the weirdness of, the opening panel of the ancient Egyptians believed in the bar, and there's this old lady's head on a pigeon.
Yeah.
And it's just, what is going on? What is going on here? And Moon Knight picks it up and it's squawking and he lets it go. But we find it, I think the art is really cool. So
I quite like the art.
Marco Renna. Yeah. Marco Renna, A Little Chaos, this is called. And it is. And I think actually the story is quite well knit. I think it succeeds in the pacing. I mean, we get the established where Colleen is and what's happening, because we've got these weird birds with people's heads on it flying around and people in comas. And
I do think it got Colleen. I mean, talking as a sort of Iron Fist person, I think it got Colleen's personality down very well, and the whole being trained from a child, but like maybe it is time for a bit of chaos. I don't know how much Mark is chaos, but I understand why that would come out of his mouth. And it's funny having him being this sort of wise person that people come to, when he's usually, before was such a wild card. It was like, keep away from Moon Knight, he might slice someone's face off, and now he's kind of like this, let me give you some advice kind of person. But then Star looks like she might be here to create some trouble.
I mean, I just reading recently again, I'm trying to catch up on some of my comics. I'm reading the Steve Orlando Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver mini.
Nice.
And Yeah, it's really good actually,
I
and
hear it's good. Yeah.
yeah, and to me, like this whole talk about maybe I need a little chaos could have worked well with Scarlet Witch,
Hmm.
with her inherent kind of powers. But obviously, it's good to have Moon Knight in there as well. Again, I love the whole dreamscape thing. I think it's just told really well by Waters. I think the way it kind of
I
establishes
like Waters as
Colleen.
a writer quite a lot. So
Yeah, I think it's really a really solid story, and the use of the characters and Nightmare as well. I mean, Nightmare's always fun
I always love
because
Nightmare. Yeah,
me
yeah.
too, because he's just really, unfortunately, perpetual loser. Loser. He seems to always
He just
luck
loses
out.
a lot. Yeah,
He loses a lot, but he's super powerful. Like
yeah.
he's kind of you get him in, you get stuck in a dream, and he's pretty much king there, omnipotent. Um, but yeah, I love how Colleen kind of works her way through, obviously in that dreamscape. And what really got me was when she finally hooks up with Moon Knight, and there's a whole thing, and there's like, well, if this isn't a dream, how come you're still on the bed, kind of in a coma? Because she captures Moon. Oh, she sees Moon Knight is out for the count, and they start talking.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I thought it was really.
I also liked his awareness to say, "You get out of my head." Like he knew that she was in his. Like not that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, we're playing into. I think the main kind of crux of it is the playing into Mark's head here as well with Nightmare, which again, Nightmare has tussled with Moon Knight.
Yeah. I was surprised they didn't mention that more.
Mm,
Actually.
yeah.
That because I was like, oh, we're gonna get here. We meet
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
But no.
Didn't happen. I know. You
Didn't
would have thought. I
happen.
mean, of all
Yeah.
the people as well, that would have been something that
Yeah.
Nightmare would have prepared for. But having said that, it was so much fun to see Jake again, back to his kind of unhinged, as he calls
Yeah.
it, ways. And Nightmare's up against him. And yeah, Stephen Grant, he not only garrots Nightmare, but he chucks him out the window, which is
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like it. I think that
I like
he is
that a lot. I always
he's the
like that kind of crazy.
yeah, but he's like the dapper, the more kind of civil, I guess, alter. But he's got a little bit of that kind of maverick to him, and he's not, he's not foreign to
Hmm.
violence as well, which actually makes him more scarier, I think, because he's kind of got that American Psycho kind of thing
Yeah.
happening. Great to see KHONSHU as well. Just in this whole idea of Nightmare delving into Moon Knight's head, because that always has to feature. I mean, we've now established in Jed's run this relationship, established KHONSHU basically, and this relationship he has with Moon Knight.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, this is really good, and the idea was it got to that vulnerable state where Nightmare knows where Colleen now is in a coma, and
Yeah.
he can physically go there and try to wrest the mind
But
gem
it
from
seems
her.
that Star's going to be the bigger
Well,
problem.
yeah, and I'm glad I recognized that.
Yeah.
So I love also as well Colleen cleaving Nightmare in two. I think. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, always good.
he's powerful, but he'll come back. But yes, Star. I mean, have you had much?
Not a
I
huge
know
amount. Only
reading.
some of these Infinity Watch things. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I know, wasn't she introduced by Kelly Thompson? Is that
Yeah, I
right?
think so. I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, with Captain Marvel. So she's super powerful. And I don't know. She had her own series. Is she a villain or is she a hero? I thought she was a hero, but obviously not.
Yeah, I guess the stones have messed people up a bit.
Oh, I've got to say also, Rebecca, just as you were kind of having a quick look towards the end, we're looking at the last page, the pigeons or whatever the doves go back into people's mouths. I
Yeah,
thought that was really like a
gross
cool,
but great.
weird,
Yeah.
yeah. So like the souls, the floating souls go back into them. I thought that was a really nice
Mhm.
touch. And overall, again, Renna has made Moon Knight, again, as I say, look really cool in this. It just was a strange tale. I really
Just not
just wanted.
really a language. It's just not really The same kind of annual as we used to get. But I think it may
Yeah,
be the kind of annual that we now get, because it's instead of
Yeah.
putting them in Moon Knight collections, now they can
yes,
become their own mini series. I get why Marvel's doing it. I just
yeah.
you know,
Oh, they. I mean, as well, and this would probably read really well, as a collection, right? Of all the
yeah.
annuals, and you'd almost be, uh, recommended to discard like the front covers of each of them, right? Because it's not
You just get them
really,
as a trade. Yeah, it'd be much better.
yeah. I mean, it's not really like a Moon Knight kind
Yeah.
of annual. Like, it's just part of the bigger story, as you say. So, with him as a cameo. But I mean, having said that, before we go on to the Death Saga, what would you give this one out of
I mean,
10?
I'd probably give this one a 7.
Okay.
Maybe 6.5, 7. I like it well enough, but it did read like I like
Yeah.
Constantine. It read like Constantine. I just wasn't hugely invested because I didn't really care. So
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. But I mean, having said that, I'm trying to pull myself away from that. I mean, what is he writes really well. I
he
think
does. I do
it
like him a lot.
was very
Um,
fluent. The art was
is he
great.
doing
I mean,
Nightwing at the moment? I think.
okay, wow, okay. Phil would be happy with that.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's a good,
anyway,
nice guy. Gave me a free
okay.
comic once, so
Oh, nice.
we
Oh,
like him
nice.
because I had left mine at home. So,
Ah, very cool.
yeah.
Well, I mean, with that, I'd say 7 as well. Then it's just a
Yeah.
nice guy. I'll give it a 7. It's not my total cup of tea, and as mentioned, it's part of a
And I'm
bigger
sure it'll
whole.
read better as a trade. Yeah.
Yeah, and not as like a I'm not even gonna consider it like a Moon Knight part. It's just one
Yeah.
part of something, the core event called the Infinity Watch. Let's call
Yeah.
it that, and that's just happening. But yeah, I'll be interested to know what other loonies think. It's a slightly older issue now. I mean, we've already covered the latest Fist of Khonshu, but let us know what you think about this annual. I mean, do you have high hopes for annuals, or are you happy?
I think this
Yeah.
is almost inevitably what they'll become.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'd agree as well. I mean, that's the format that they're going for now. So,
and I just think going into it being aware of that is fine. Like, I'll know that, and that'll
yeah,
be okay.
yeah.
Do I care? No, I just kind of wish they wouldn't always have night ones, I guess.
Wouldn't
Like,
have what?
I'd
Sorry.
Moon Knight ones. I'd rather be able to
Ah,
pick and choose which ones I get and which
yeah,
ones I'm interested in. And yeah, I just like, I don't know. I kind of wish they could just tell their stories and feel a little bit
yeah,
braver about it without
yeah. I mean, the beauty of this, Rebecca, is that they don't impinge at all on the main stories of the characters and stuff. So they are pretty much their own thing, which I
yeah.
think is a good thing. You can just
Yeah,
you can either take it, as you say, you can either take it or you can leave it. You don't have to get it. But for those completionists, you'll probably be drawn in to get it. And like Rebecca and I mentioned, it is a solid enough read. It's just as long as your expectations are there that it's not really Moon Knight centric or your favorite characters centric. It's an event, and
yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure when I go back and read it as a full thing, I'll really enjoy it.
Yeah,
And it's just
absolutely.
like, but comics are expensive, and I'm not going to buy all of them just to get the Moon Knight one. And is kind of my basic reaction to it. And but yeah, so I think it would have benefited from just
I mean, I reckon this is definitely a good thing to. I would highly recommend it once it's collected in Marvel Unlimited.
right,
Like,
exactly.
they have suggested reading to just go check it out. And I don't want to dissuade anyone from,
No, I just think that, like, if you're doing a podcast, you obviously want to read it as it comes out, even if we haven't been very on the ball about getting things out quickly, but there's always a bit more. But I think, genuinely, you'd get more out of this if you just read it on Marvel Limited or as a trade, because you'd get the full story and you'd kind of know. I mean, like, we both know Colleen quite well, so. But if we didn't, or it was about one of the stone carriers that were people we'd not heard of. It'd be quite different, I think. So
Oh, definitely. I think
you know, like I think it's
yeah.
quite lucky for us that this was the Colleen one that we know quite well, because
Yeah. It's got a lot
otherwise we
more
might have felt even, at least, you know, we know who she is. We know who she is in
yes.
relation to
Oh, you have a
Moonlight.
bit more of a
You
vested
know,
interest in it.
yeah, we know she's
Yeah.
another street level character, so
Yeah.
that fits well, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but you know, I didn't. And are we gonna do the death one? Do we really have to? It was like,
well, let's just quickly get a look. It's super quick, because actually I did really enjoy Valentina Pinti. I'm just trying to read that artist. I really did enjoy the art, Rebecca.
I think it's good. I think it's, I don't know, Coulson's face is a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a particular, I don't know, the style with it. Even that patient's face on the bed looks really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the whites and the shadows on the face. But no, I totally know what you mean. Some of it does look a bit strange.
It's another one that felt a bit out of Sandman with, are you ready to die now? Like, let's book on your eye.
Yeah, that was it. That was the thing, wasn't it? And him asking whether he is death, and then it went to Coulson killing off, was it Nighthawk or
Nighthawk?
Nighthawk, Nighthawk, and he's got the so he's got the Deathstone. Nick is just trying to hold him together. And
keep it together, mate.
Yeah, it's just a weird one. It was just really super short. I did appreciate the art, and again, not really knowing.
It's basically like Coulson's death, and he's going around collecting someone, and then Nighthawk's dead, and Nick Fury's saying, "Get it together."
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't think Coulson's done very much since they brought him into the comics, or since was it Civil War 2 when he went a bit Secret Empire when he went a bit crazy, and you know, that kind of
okay. I do vaguely recall something happened to him, and was it Uncanny Avengers or something?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. It's not been necessarily the best.
Okay, but
this is just weird.
So Nick's looking pretty good in it. He says the power you've got was never meant for a mortal, but you know what? You're going to keep it together. That's an order. Okay, so he's just wandering around, and Nick's just keeping tabs on him, I guess. Yeah. Not much to say here, Rebecca. I don't
think it added anything to the annual.
Oh no,
and it
absolutely
didn't,
not.
And I'm not looking forward to reading the rest. When I do read the rest of the annuals, I don't really care. It's an interesting idea, but I would rather have death.
The Deathstone saga. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
This would be more at home with bring back What Happened to Marvel Comics Presents. That would be really cool.
Well, I guess it's another of the Infinity. It's another. They want to tie it to the Infinity Watch, so it makes sense. But it's just like, again, I'm not going to buy 6 comics at £4.50 each to read about this.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It was a bit of a. I don't know if it were to rate it.
And if I could have had a backup about Moon Knight in the Moon Knight annual, I would rather have done that. But then I guess we've just had Phases, which was an anthology of Moon Knight annual stories. I mean, that's the thing, is like, you know, but that is the thing. Phases was kind of like annuals. It was like 4 annuals in a row. But so like they just mess you in your head with like calling them all these different things. We just have to like accept this is the new normal, maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that is the important takeaway. It is the new norm. So this is the format for annuals. If you like them, some of them, you know, have been good. So it just depends on what kind of flavor you're into at the time. Let me just give some credit where credit's due, though. Chapter 7, if I can read it. Derek Landy is the writer. Valentina,
I like him.
Yeah, me too. He's a very solid writer. But again, there's only so much you can do with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. That's pretty small. Valentina Pinti, Mattia Iacono, Travis Lanham is the letterer, and you've got Gareth McGaney and Nick Lowe is the editor for this. So interesting. Not really Moon Knight related. If you just want to read the whole annual, give it a go. Rebecca, this is part 7. Do you know roughly the other annuals that had featured this last year? That No.
Shall I have a look?
Yeah.
Infinity Watch annuals 2 and 2 4. Infinity Watch event.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
right, so
really
ours-
grabbing me.
There were
gotta say
2
that.
after ours. So
Okay.
there was Thanos annual in June,
Oh.
Amazing Spider-Man, Immortal Thor, and Ms. Marvel annuals in July,
Oh.
Wolverine and Incredible Hulk in August, and Moon Knight, Spider-Boy, and Avengers in September.
So disparate. All of
Yeah,
them.
I
They're
mean,
just-
it's just like, can you imagine someone buying those? I mean,
Mm.
all of them. It's a lot.
You'd have to be a mad Infinity Watch fan, seriously.
And to like pay
like-
attention from June through to September.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to buy 3 in July and 3 in September, it's a lot of money.
That's a lot. I mean, and it's like that implies that you kind of follow those ones as well. So all those issues that you're buying on top of, you're going to be buying
Yeah.
these annuals as well. Anyway, anywho, it kind of has turned a little bit into a review on the format of annuals. But you know, we're happy to review a Moon Knight.
Talk about anything, yeah. We'll talk about
Exactly.
anything, you know.
Did you give this one a rating, Rebecca? I gave it a 5.
No, but I would
Okay.
give it a 5.
A 5, yeah.
No, I might give it a 6 because I like Colleen.
Oh, you mean overall? Sorry. Yeah, no.
Oh, the death one. No,
Yeah.
like 4. That was terrible.
And so overall, yeah. So you're saying a 6? I'd give it a
maybe
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so we're along the same lines.
Yeah, it was good. It was just not good enough.
Yeah, and definitely the front story, the main story is where the money is. If you want to check out this annual, that's
if you
where
want to
a lot
read
of
it. I mean,
points.
it's strange that people who are doing a Moon Knight podcast would say the Moon Knight bit is the important bit, but it is the important bit.
It is the important bit. So listeners, thank you. Yeah, go check it out. And again, let us know on Discord, on Facebook, what you think of this issue. Very interested. It's been pretty quiet, particularly for this issue, and this issue's been out for a bit now, so maybe it has fallen under the radar for many.
Maybe
Looney
a lot
fans.
of people are just reading it on Marvel Unlimited when it's finished as well. It's finished now, apparently. I didn't know, but it should be there's 3 months till it goes on Marvel Unlimited, so that's October, November, December. It should all be up on Marvel Unlimited now. The fact that we didn't know that to start with is even funnier.
But yeah, maybe people are just waiting for the whole thing before giving their comments, or maybe it didn't impress. I don't know, didn't impress. Whatever. It would be great to hear what you think. Let us know, and Rebecca and I will pick it up on the later episodes. Any of your feedback that you're happy for us to share. Rebecca, thank you once again for the Moon Knight Annual. This is more of this hopefully to come.
Controversial podcast where we didn't like it. Yeah.
No. But we do have plenty of other comics to review coming up, as mentioned previously as well. There'll obviously be the new issues, all the latest and greatest coming at you. Rebecca and I will be on top of that. But we're going to be looking at some issues with Moon Knight appearances in it, as well as some other stuff. So I can't remember all the stuff we've kind of slated, Rebecca, but can't wait to share it with everyone.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A bit more podcast, a bit more regular. Try and keep us up with the comics as well.
I'm trying to make a concerted effort. I did do a little bit of a slab of reading today, Rebecca, all the old ones and the new ones. I mentioned Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. I caught up on some more of Ryan North's Fantastic Four.
That's one that I really want to read. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't read any of them yet, or you've read some of them?
I've read some, but not all.
I got to tell you, it's consistently at a high standard. I've read the first 19 issues, and they're all kind of really, really good.
That was what I planned to do over Christmas, and I've still not done it. So
yeah,
it's on the cards. It's
well,
just not happened yet.
It's going to be time well spent. I can tell you that. Also, as well, Doctor Strange. I'm a little bit behind that with Jed McKay's, but I've really been enjoying that too. So doing a whole lot. I'm trying to get through my comics, Rebecca, because I want to get back on the horse and be really up vibe and not up vibe. I'll be in the know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there, and hopefully we'll get some interviews in between as well. Jed McKay, obviously, and maybe some artists. I want to get some artists on. They're a bit harder to get, but we'll see. Anyway, Rebecca, as always, it's been a pleasure. Anything you want to shout out?
No, everything's quite peaceful with me. I am not doing much. Everyone bully me into reading. That's all I'm saying.
Similar as well, kind of business as usual. Go check out, I guess, the standard links in the show notes as well. If you want to check out more of Rebecca's stuff, maybe at the back catalogue with some of the other podcasts, Sons of the Dragon and the DCEU. As well as some of the stuff I'm doing. The Spider Woman podcast, we have gone on a bit of a hiatus, but we'll return.
Who knows?
Yeah,
She's
maybe
West Coast Avengers.
Exactly. Maybe that might be the impetus. But until next time, as always, may KHONSHU watch over the denizens of the night. We'll catch you later.